welcome to 2022. This is Denise Allen with PA Ancestors. I am excited about this episode because I have wanted to just really switch it up this year. Really just put 2020 and 2021 behind me and focus on just a couple genealogy things that I just really want to wind up. And I contacted Julie Cahill Tarr to help me figure out how to set these genealogy goals. She's been doing it for years, both with her business and her personal blog. You will find her at genealogyinaction.com, and she is going to help me get in action around my genealogy goals. She's egging me on a little bit in this podcast, but if you want to see what I picked for my goals for 2022 in terms of genealogy, head over to my website, paancestors.com, or you can subscribe to my newsletter and you'll get a link to the blog post there, as well as links to all the podcast episodes and other things that I'm up to, because I am up to some other things. It's another goal. I'm probably setting a few more goals than I need to. But anyway, here's Julie. She's fabulous, and I hope you learn how to set some good goals for your genealogy. And if you want to drop a comment about what you're setting for your genealogy goals, maybe there's some other folks in the comments too that can help you out and cheer you on. And if you need cheered on, you can always reach out to me too. I am excited to have Julie Cahill Tarr on the podcast for this episode because she is a prolific, I can say the word, prolific blogger and writer and genealogy enthusiast. And she just put out a post about setting genealogy goals. And she actually talked about her previous goals and did some accountability. And I was like, this is a woman I need to talk to because this is my sticking point with genealogy. So, Julie, welcome to the podcast. Can you introduce yourself to the audience and fill them in on all your genealogy that you're doing? Because you're doing a ton of things.
Sure. And thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation. So I have been doing genealogy since about 2007. And for a while, it was pretty much a daily, all-day thing. Like, that's just all I would do. And shortly after that, I kind of learned, I need to do, like, stuff. Like, I need to record my searches. I need to do citations. I learned very early on. So I didn't get stuck in the trap where now it's 15 years later and I'm like, I gotta go back and do all this stuff. So I had kind of learned that early on, but not entirely. I still struggled. But I'm in better shape than some people who've been doing genealogy for like 50 years. So, but I kind of started giving back to the community pretty quickly because I got so much from the community to learn and grow very quickly. So I wanted to pay it forward. So I've been blogging since 2007 or 8. I just celebrated my 13th anniversary in July. So the math, it's either 2007 or 2008. I don't remember. But so I've been doing the blog since then and initially started as, I'm just going to share my family stories, photos, that kind of thing. And then I decided that some of the stuff that I was sharing was working through problems and, using different sources and talking about it. And I learned that it was helping other people. And so it kind of morphed more into like educational in a way. And then in 2011, I decided to go professional, and I've been doing research for clients since then. And then in 2019, I pivoted. I decided I didn't want to do research anymore. I wanted to do consultation or coaching, because a lot of what I was doing for clients as it was giving them a plan of action because they wanted to do the work, but they were just stuck. So I kind of decided I wanted to go that route. So I decided, let's do it. And I did kind of a soft launch in 2019. And then I did a formal launch of that on my birthday in March of 2020. Just the same day my state lockdown, by the way. So I was very...
Hopefully that wasn't a symbolic, or like it didn't like hurt your business. I mean, I guess it would kind of help your business, or that effort. People...
I actually was a little nervous to post it because I didn't want people to think that I was posting it to like garner business. That
Yeah,
was
no.
and then it was just to share the news. And I went back and forth on that because
Yeah.
I didn't know how it would be received. Unfortunately, people took it the way that I meant it. It wasn't like, come hire me. It was like, hey, I'm just sharing this news that
Yeah.
it's my birthday. I wanted to share it today. And I told people that I wrestled with this decision, but that's just me. I'm weird like that, I guess. But, shortly after that, like literally a month later, I decided that I wanted to pivot again. And I have been working on doing courses and I have a membership and things like that. And I was originally going to be publishing books, which I'm still going to do, but that kind of took a back seat. And so the series of books that I was going to work on was going to be a series called Genealogy in Action. So it's about action-based learning. And I decided to take that and actually turn it more into a brand, not just the series name, but more of a brand. And so that's what I'm operating under today is the Genealogy in Action brand, which is just educational products. That's where I'm at.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love the journey. I'm glad you filled everybody in because it is, I mean, genealogy is a journey, I think, as you explained, just in our process of doing it. And then obviously what we understand about what we're seeing, too. That's another whole conversation, how you interpret what you find in the records. But the process of giving back and being part of the genealogy community, I think is so valuable because this is a very diverse busy place. I mean, I wouldn't call it like but it's sort of like walking into like an old like medieval market or something. Like there's just like all these people and they're all talking loudly and they're all, proud of what they're, who they are and what they're selling. Not selling, but like, projecting. And it's interesting. I find genealogy, just the people and then the process so fascinating. Which is why I'm so distracted in doing my genealogy. So help me get some focus. So how do you go about setting your genealogy goals for the year? You mentioned pivoting, and I get like if you pivot, you're going to set some new goals. But what's your process? How do you do it?
So I have been doing the goal setting probably since the beginning of my blog journey because I think somebody had done it and I'm like, it kind of turned into one of those like everybody was doing it. So I'm like, well, okay. And it helped to keep me accountable. And most years I do pretty well. The last couple of years have been not just because of the whole pandemic situation, but just other things going on in my life. So things have been a little bit more challenging and I haven't been 100% good on meeting my goals, but I do try to set SMART goals. So that's kind of a big kind of acronym that's used mainly in the workplace, but I kind of follow that model. So like the S is specific. So, and if you've read my blog post, which I know you have, most of my goals aren't actually specific. The public facing ones are not specific because I'm kind of holding some things kind of close because I'm not ready to share some of those things publicly. But my real goals are more specific. And it's just helping you kind of get that focus on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And the M is measurable. So most of my genealogy goals are measured by whether it gets done or not. That's just kind of how it is. But I do have one goal that it was to create a forever account and start getting my digital like documents and photos in that account. And that is really not measurable because it's not going to be done probably within the year. It's probably going to be a long process, right? So I should have written it like, spend 1 hour per week uploading and organizing photos in forever, something like that. So that's a little bit more specific and measurable. So, and then I use the word actionable. Other people use attainable or achievable, but I like the actionable because I'm all about action, right? Like that's what my brand is, right? So I like actionable. And that's why all of my goals start with an active verb. So publish my book, research this family, whatever it is, right? It always starts with an active verb. The R is for relevant. And it just means that it's aligning with what I want to do, what my needs are, and that it's worth the effort to do it. Because if you put something on your list that isn't worth it to you, then you're not gonna do it. You're just not. And then the T is time bound. So my goals don't really have a time bound or a time in there because they're all for the year. So that's my time. But I find that one of the reasons like I said, I initially started doing it because everybody else, all the other bloggers were doing it, right? So of course I had to jump on the bandwagon. But I have found and I continue to do it because I use my yearly goals to also determine if something else is needed. So for example, like pretty soon, we're doing this in December, pretty soon, the schedules for the webinars are going to start coming out because they do the year in schedule. The societies do, Legacy does, et cetera. So that's going to come in my inbox at some point within the next like 2 weeks. And I take that list and I compare it to my goals. If they do not align with those goals, I do not do it. So for example, if there's a webinar on Connecticut records, I have a lot of Connecticut people, but I am not working on those people. That's not part of my goal for the year. I'm working on a batch of German people. So attending that really isn't going to help me right now. Eventually, maybe, but not right now. So I believe in continuing education. I mean, I'm all for it 100%. But I learned the hard way that there's not enough hours in the day. And I was actually consuming and not doing. So that's why I'm like, okay, I have to figure out a way to scale back so that I actually have time to do stuff. And so that was one of the reasons why I continued to do the goals, because I compare that list to other opportunities, whether they're educational opportunities, whether it's a cousin DNA match that contacts me and says, hey, I want to work with you. And it's like, well, great. I need to figure out whether or not it aligns with my goals. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, I have to weigh it and see, do I have time to add this in as a new goal or not, based on my other goals and where I'm at with those. So it really does help, because I used to be one of those people that would just like randomly like pick up name and start working on it, right? I think we kind of all do that, especially when we get stuck. We just tend to like put it to the side and move on to something else. And I'm pretty much like, I know what I want to work on for the year. And if I get done with everything that I want to get done, then I can start adding in other projects. But and this list is actually quite long this year because I'm making up for 2020 and 2021.
Aren't we all?
But I think somebody had commented, it was either like on my Facebook post or on my blog post, I don't remember specifically, but they're like, wow, that's a lot of goals. And I'm like, you know what? But a lot of them are actually in progress already. It's a matter of just finishing most of these. So hopefully it won't be too overwhelming. And then I just want to add real quick that so my goals are kind of broad in nature, but each one of them usually has some sort of plan behind it, whether it's like just a simple checklist, like the Loom did that, or sometimes a more detailed plan or roadmap of how to get there. But every single one of them has something of substance that I am able to focus even more. So I found that helps, because initially when it was just a goal, it was like, okay, I didn't have steps outlined. I didn't know what I needed to do to do that. And so one of my favorite sayings is, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And I found that to be very true.
It's good.
So now my goals have a plan on the backside, which of course I don't really share publicly necessarily, but it is there. And now I just know what I need to do. When I sit down, I know exactly what I want to work on, and I don't have to think, what do I want to work on today? I know I need to work on it. It's helpful.
It is helpful. I have not written down genealogy goals at all. I thought about things, and I think, like this past year with so many things being virtual again, I thought, oh, I'm going to take advantage of some of these trainings. So I did like the International Genealogy Conference, which was wonderful, but I attended 2 sessions and I bought the, recordings on a USB drive. But have I watched any of those? No, I have not, and part of it was I didn't set a goal to research my German ancestors, but I just took advantage of the education. So now I have that done, but not done. Like, it's just,
I have a tip for that.
oh,
Actually,
give me a tip.
I'd like to hear it. So I did the same thing. I did NGS and the German genealogy and Roots Tech, which was free, and then I also did the UGA summit, because I never do that like in person. I don't do any of those except for NGS. So I took advantage of it too. Now the German one, totally 100% aligned with my goals. And in fact, the NGS one, there were several sessions that were methodology based. And those I kind of make room for because I feel like I like seeing other people's perspectives on how they approach problem solving. So those are kind of a given for me. But I do the same thing. And it's like last year, or I guess this year, 2021, it was like March, and I still hadn't watched a single NGS from 2020. And I'm like, I have until like May 15th or something. Like, I need to get this done. So what I ended up doing is I did not watch every single one of them. I did like the smallest package or something. And I knew which ones I wanted. It was just a matter of watching them. So what I ended up doing is I set a goal for the month of April to watch one a day because there were less than 30. So even if I missed a day, I could still get them done in the 30 days. And that's how I did it. That's how I've been doing. I just did for the month of December. I did that for UGA because they're expiring at the end of the year. So I literally was doing one a day, and boom, I'm done. So, and now I'm moved on to Roots Tech. And those are a little easier because they're usually about 20 minutes. So those are a little bit better. I can watch like two of them at a time, after two in a day if I need to. So I'm working through those. So I should be done with those probably in a couple of weeks. So, but it helps. I mean, I have health issues, so I'd have to lay down like about halfway through my day anyways. So I just watch them on my iPad, and that just allows me to do that and still be alert and learn. I'm still doing something productive. So that just works for me.
Okay. That sounds
Maybe
like
it'll
that. Yeah, I was just thinking, oh, maybe a treadmill and I can walk and watch a webinar at the same time too, like, or lay down or yeah, rest. But yeah, I have that same thing. I want to be doing something productive. Sometimes if I'm not watching it live, I don't pay as good attention to it. And that's not helping me learn.
I think a lot of people struggle with that because I know when I don't attend a live webinar, for example, I have a to watch list so that I keep track of things I want to go back to. And my list keeps growing and growing and nothing comes off of it because I don't purposely work it in. I need to do that. That's something I wanted to kind of work in because I have like a whole backlog of legacy webinars, for example, and some of the society webinars. And I just need to kind of do the one a day or
Yeah,
one a week or something to just start getting through them.
that sounds like a
No, I feel you. I feel you.
no, that sounds like a great structure. So speaking of structure, do you use an accountability buddy or any, like, how do you hold yourself accountable to your goals? I guess is my question. Or are you one of these like really great people that can just do it? I'm not one of those people. I feel like it's terrible. Like I have this weird, maybe it's my German background. I need someone to like sit on me or something, to do things that I really care about because I think in my brain, it's really important to me that I do it well and I do it right. And to do that, I want to be sure I'm really focused on it. And the way our days are structured, or at least my days sometimes, is I don't get a lot of concentrated time to work. So therefore, I'm like, today's not a good day. I'm too distracted. So I push it off to the next day. And lo and behold, the next day is just as distracting as the current day. So my goal for 2022 is literally to shut out some of the world, just leave it do its thing, and focus on the things that matter to me. So do you use an accountability buddy to focus? Do you have somebody that's like, are you on the internet? Get off the internet.
I do not have a genealogy accountability partner. I do have a business one. I have a group of other professionals, and then I also have a genealogy person who's also doing a genealogy business.
Oh,
So
okay.
in that respect, I do that for genealogy. Part of the way that I hold myself accountable is to put my goals out there, publicly. Not that anybody's necessarily holding me accountable to it, but I understand what you're saying in terms of the roadblock. It's a mental roadblock. Like, oh, I only have 15 minutes, or I know I'm going to get interrupted in the next couple of hours, or the phone's going to ring, or somebody's going to need this, and you're actually kind of putting that mental roadblocks ahead of, putting it right in front of you, and then you don't do anything. You're just stuck. And I used to be that way because you mentioned earlier about wanting to do it right, wanting to do it well.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm a perfectionist. And that was usually my roadblock because of the same reasons. Like, I'm going to get interrupted. I don't have a lot of time. I only have 10 minutes right now. There's so much I can do in 10 minutes though. You'd be surprised, right? Like, but one of the things that I actually have it on my wall. I found this quote in a book, and it's actually all over the internet too, but it's done is better than perfect, because there is no perfect without done. And
Love
so
it.
I printed it out, I put it on my wall so that I can see it every day, because that was becoming a huge roadblock for me in accomplishing anything. It was becoming a crutch and an excuse, actually. And I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of trying to be perfect, because it's impeding my progress. I had no idea until I read that how much it was, because when I started, and I'm still not fully detached from it. Okay. Just to be clear, it's still a work in progress, but I have discovered that it really helps to take that burden off yourself and just get stuff done. And, B plus work is good enough. Some people will see work is good enough. There are some tasks where it's like, as long as I get it done, I don't care if it's sparkly or not. Like, and then there's other things I want to do more of, like A-ish work as opposed to A plus plus, right? But it just kind of depends. So once I started to lift that limitation off of me, I found I was getting way more productive and getting stuff done and getting things out there and doing what I wanted to do. So,
So let go of perfectionism. Oh man. Well, there's a goal for 2022. So is there anything else I should say that I should have asked you about setting genealogy goals that you didn't get a chance to say?
I mean, honestly, like I said, it started out as like, hey, all the bloggers are doing it, because we always used to do all these, like meme type things. I think that's what they're called. I don't know, but like everybody would do this, or we had the list of things that you've done or not done, and you post that, and so I play along with some of those things, but the goal thing has definitely stuck with me. And even though I don't necessarily have an accountability partner for it, I just work through it. And I think the other thing I wanted to say is, just because you set a goal and you don't achieve it in the time frame that you've given yourself. So I know people who will do genealogy goals on a quarterly basis, which is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Or a monthly basis, just kind of planning out, because they don't want to plan out an entire year. That's why mine are a little broad. I mean, I have like detailed plans on the backside, like I talked about. These are just things that I want to try to focus on during the year, whether it happens in January and is done by March, or it happens in November, whatever. I just want to try to work towards those goals. And there are times when I don't complete my goals. And it used to bother me, because I'm not a quitter, and I want to finish what I start. But I've learned to let go of that too. It's another one of those like roadblocks, right? Like, I'm never going to finish it, so I'm not even going to bother. And I kind of had that mindset for a while, but I learned that, you know what? I am making progress. And really, to me, that is enough. That's all I care about. So like, when I am teaching, for example, with my course or my membership or whatever, I am focused on helping those people make progress, whether it's one step or 20 steps, whatever it is, whatever works for them, whatever fits in with their life, their time, their schedule, all of that, as long as they are moving forward, that's all that matters to me. is that they are making progress, that they're not stuck. So that's really what my mantra is, I guess. So even if you set a goal and you don't accomplish it entirely, as long as you did something to move forward on it, to me, that's enough. You've still accomplished something.
Yeah, that's really motivating. That is some good words to wind up on. So where can people find you? Where's the best place if they want to follow you or your work and connect in this membership site and your courses?
My business, what I'm focusing on now, because I'm not really doing much client work these days at all, but that is my genealogy in action. So that's genealogyinaction.com. And I currently offer a course that I originally did it as a 6-week program where people would do it with me for 6 weeks and get coaching and all that kind of stuff. And it went well, but I know people's schedules are hectic and it doesn't always fit into their life. So a couple months ago, I released a self-study version of it so that people can do it on their own time. And that is my Genealogy Problem Solving Academy. So it walks you through a framework of problem solving because I like structured processes, as you may have come to figure out. I just like to have a start and an end to something. So when I am stuck on a research problem, I run it through a problem solving framework that ultimately ends in a research plan. So I know where I've been, where I want to go, and how to get there. That's essentially what it is. I also put together a genealogy scavenger hunt. I actually did that back in, I think, April or May of 2020. It was just a fun little email exchange to help us get through those early months of shutdown. But it was such an interesting success that I did it again in July. And then I decided at the end of 2020 that, you know what, I'm going to make this a monthly thing, a product. And so for like $47, which is like, like $2 a month or something like that, it's just, every month you get a new activity and it's just about going and finding the records that I'm guiding you to through clues and hints, and then answering questions about that record or set of records, because it helps people kind of slow down for one and get familiar with maybe records they've never used before or a deeper dive into records that they are familiar with, but they're not using the entire record, for example. So, but the reason I did that was because the feedback that I got in the original ones, which I did via email, like I was literally like dealing with like 200 people for like an entire week every single day because I was answering, they were sending me the answers and I respond whether they were right or wrong and give them clues if they were stuck and things like that. And it was like literally a full-time job for like an entire week. But the feedback that I got, there were people who, I'm going to try not to tear up here, but there were people who said that I had reignited their interest in genealogy, that they felt validated because there's nobody there to validate whether they're doing it right or wrong, right? So they felt validated and just, I was like shocked. Like I said, it was just like, let's do something for fun to get us through this crazy time. And it ended up being a lot deeper than that, which surprised the heck out of me. And they were like, when's the next one? When's the next one? We're going to do it again. It's like, okay. So I did it again. And then like I said, at the end of the year, I decided, I'm going to do this not monthly so that it's not like everybody's tied to the thing for like one entire week every day. And that seems to work out a lot better. Plus it's kind of more automated. They submit the answers and then they unlock the answer. And I do a video tutorial walking them through all the steps that I took. And then I also show them different, tips or something for like the website that we're using or whatever. They're all free records. I don't do Ancestry unless it's a free database, but I'm trying to introduce people to different repositories, like a state archive site that they may or may not have ever used. So people really enjoy it, which is great. And that's just, it's one of those that it's not a huge investment and they kind of get to have fun and just learn. And they all learn a little something every month. And then I give them action prompts so that they can do something on their own. research as well. So
That does sound great. I heard great things about the scavenger hunt. I really did. And I think everyone should check it out and check out Genealogy in Action. Action being the key word there.com.
yeah.
Julie Cahill Tarr, thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate you spending the time, and let's wish each other luck with our genealogy goals for 2022.
Amen. That's your goal for today, is to set a few goals for next year.
All right. I will have them set by the time this podcast comes out.
All right. I'm going to hold you to that. Oh, thanks again for having me. It's been fun.